Now, what kind of experience did you have prior to this project in terms of building something like this?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I've never even done brake pads.
Really? Nothing. Wow. Hi, my name's Jim Kenzie. You may have known me from the Toronto Star Wheel Section and Motoring TV, but today I'm in Mike's garage. Mike Schultz here as in the process of building a Factory 5 Cobra, and this is the car. Mike, first, thank you for inviting us to your lovely garage.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you guys.
So tell us, how did this start?
Well, it started one day 2 years ago. I was driving and I looked in my rearview mirror and I saw what I thought was a Shelby Cobra. Went home, researched it, figured out what it was, fell in love with it instantly. Quickly learned with a bit of researching that you could buy them or you could actually build them. And I
Right.
wrestled back and forth with it, but I came to a realization that I was meant to build this car.
Because I understand if you wanted to restore a genuine Shelby Cobra, I mean, that car was built on what, a 1963 AC Asica chassis, how the V8 engine in that car didn't twist the whole thing into a shambles the first time you accelerated. But this is obviously a much stouter product here.
Yeah, that was out of that didn't even come as an option. This is what appeared as an option for me.
Cool,
Factory
cool.
5 out of Boston offers the whole kit.
Yep.
You can go with the donor, you can go brand new parts. I went all brand new, and
Cool.
before you know it, it's in my garage and I'm building.
Mike, what was the vision that got you started on this whole project?
Well, I had a moment where I saw a Shelby Cobra, and I
Right.
remember exactly where it was like love at first sight. But
Sure.
what I found was fascinating was that once I realized I was going to build this car, I was telling everyone in the town I was building this car. I had not even yet ordered the car, put a down payment on the kit. Nothing of like that had happened yet. But I was telling everybody in town that I was building a Shelby Cobra. I told my wife I couldn't not build it because everybody's expecting one.
Fair enough. Yeah. So you painted yourself into a corner,
Big
basically.
time. I knew I was. Yeah.
Building. Well, let's take a look at some of the stuff you've got in here. Obviously, this is a square tube frame,
Yeah.
and all this stuff comes in a piece, or did you have to weld all this up to yourself?
No, that's the thing with it. It comes really well welded. The whole chassis, you go to Boston, we picked it up and brought it home as the chassis. And then pretty much everything else is in boxes, right? So
Okay.
behind us here,
Yep.
we got a whole, just dozens and dozens of boxes. And then you just start assembling, right? Even all the aluminum paneling. Like
Yep.
I've been drilling and riveting and just fastening the panels to the car. And then
Cool.
from there, we go to the front suspension, the rear suspension, the differential, and just on and on it goes.
And I see you've got the critical component here. Can you get a close up of this? Duct tape. Duct tape. That's what keeps all cars together at some point or other.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's walk around and see what we got back here. This is the suspension. Where does the suspension come from? What's the source of the components here?
Well, as I understand, like a lot of the stuff is like Mustang stuff, right?
Okay.
Mustang parts. And all this came in different components. So we got the lower control arm, the upper control arm, the tow arm, the axle, the rotors, and the calipers, all this stuff came in separate boxes and it's been assembled. Run into the odd problems, right? Sometimes this doesn't fit perfectly with that. So I had to get the rotors machined, for example, to get them to fit in. So it's not always like Lego. It's not that, it's not, I thought it might be like that, but it's certainly not. A lot of, but that's the rear. Yeah. And then we put the differential. Okay. We had that actually went in pretty easy.
Yep.
A lot of guys mentioned that that's a tough fit, but that actually went in pretty good. The fuel system right here.
Yep.
I had this assembled and it's got the sender and receiver, the valve, and so all this I built right from scratch there, and just waiting on some upgrade fuel lines, some flex lines before I start putting in the long fuel lines up to where the engine will be.
Going to use AeroQuip on those? The AeroQuip, the braided steel?
Yes, that's the plan, right? So it just seemed to be a better upgrade than what was provided. So yeah, and then at the front here, I did mess around a lot with this. This is the pedal box here. So this was a good week or two building the pedal box, Willwood pedal box, and had that all assembled. the steering shaft all the way down into the power steering rack. We assembled
Cool.
that. We just started doing brake lines over the last couple of weeks, and then this takes us to the front end.
Yep.
Upper control arm, lower control arm, the steering, all the calipers, rotors, all that we assembled.
Now, are
Yeah.
these Mustang parts too? Or
I'm not sure about everything. I just know Mustang parts is like
Most of
majority of them are, but
Okay.
I don't know about every part,
Okay.
what the story is behind every part. They just
Cool.
provide them, right, for the most part.
Yeah. But you do have power steering.
Absolutely.
When
Yeah.
you put that engine in there, you're going to
Yeah.
really appreciate that. for
Power
sure.
steering and then right over here, I'll just show you something here.
Yep.
So when you go to order your Factory 5 Roadster, okay, you have to select ahead of time what engine you want.
Okay.
They gave I think it was about 4 or 5 options. I went with the Coyote engine.
Okay.
Right. So when that comes in a few months, these mounts here are specific for Coyote, right? So they weld that all together with your selection in mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this big wooden plank here, I take it that's not really part of the car.
Yeah, no, that's actually a movable dolly that we built. Right.
Okay.
So that allows me to move the car around in the garage because it's a tight fit, as you can see. So that allows me to move it around, and it'll stay on that for a little while longer. And then I think once the engine comes, that'll be out, and then I'll put it on some jack stands.
So I'm showing my age here, but I presume this wasn't a Marcos. There isn't actually plywood in the construction of this car.
Yes, some plywood. It's a lot of wood.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yeah, a lot of 2x8s and so
Okay.
forth.
But
yeah.
it won't be in the finished product.
It won't be in the
So it won't
product.
be as flammable as a
No,
metal.
it
Okay,
certainly
that's
won't
good to
be.
know. Now, what is that?
Well, that's just something I got in my stocking for Christmas. That's just little. That's just for nuts and bolts, actually, so I don't lose a magnetic.
Ah, okay. So it's not a cup
That's not
cup
part of the
holder
car.
or
No,
anything like that.
nothing like that.
I would imagine that Cobra replica car might not have a cup holder.
No, I'm gonna probably put one in though.
Well,
'cause
you're going
I
to
think
probably need both hands on the wheel when you're driving
For
this
sure.
thing, I would think.
yeah,
That's
but I think
amazing.
a coffee goes with a good country
Yeah.
driving one of these. So I'll probably end up putting some cup holders in. We'll see.
Now-
Right? You just take any one box and you pull it out, and boom, it's got everything. Right? It's all. You see that? Right? So every box has got just all sorts of different. There's an air filter, different. It looks like that from the cooling, the radiator system, and different electronics. It's got checklists everywhere. Right? And we'll see.
Now, at this point, if you put the engine and wheels and stuff on it, it would be fairly drafty. So presumably there's something that goes over top
Oh
of
yeah,
all this.
absolutely. Yeah. So the whole body, which I don't have here to show because that's at the family farm,
Okay.
but it does come with one solid body, right?
Okay.
Fiberglass, thick fiberglass body that we have stored off site so that because I didn't have the room.
Yep.
But yeah, once it's all put together and probably, well, really even running, I think we'll be test driving it before the body goes on, and then you bring the body back, you set it in, and you're good to go.
Your neighbors are going to love you test driving this car in this neighborhood.
They don't know how loud it's going to be yet.
I used to have the same problem with my race cars.
Yeah.
Now, all these notes to yourself, is this just reminding you
when I
what has to
disassembled
go
all
where?
the panels, because this comes mostly paneled ahead of time, but then you have to take everything apart. So I was just labeling everything just to know what goes where when I started to reassemble it.
Now, what kind of experience did you have prior to this project in terms of building something like this?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I've never even done brake pads.
Really?
Nothing.
Wow.
I
By the
did-
way, I suggest
yeah.
when you get the engine in,
Yeah.
put in brake pads.
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be a good thing.
No, I've never had any background. I took auto mechanics in school, so I always liked auto mechanics,
Yeah.
but I've never, apart from grade 9, 10, doing some work on cars at that time, never. I just had a strong determination, right? And I always say I'm mechanically inclined, but this project definitely tests me in that area.
And
So I'm actually a chiropractor by trade. I'm a mechanic of the spine during the week, and I'm an auto mechanic on the weekend. And the analogy, one cool analogy, the chassis is basically like the skeletal system. And in chiropractic, we always work with the nervous system, right? And so in the automobile world, this is the nervous system, the electrical harness, right? And so that's what I just started working on now, is just getting ready to lay all these wiring harnesses out throughout the car, and then it'll be hooked up ultimately to the computer and so forth.
so this is the skeleton, effectively,
Absolutely.
and the heart would be this massive.
I would
engine
say
you're gonna put
the
in.
engine, the Coyote engine that's going
Okay.
into this
Yep.
would be that'd be the heart, the engine,
Yep,
right?
yep.
For sure.
And all that wiring stuff, that'd be the nervous
Nervous
system,
system,
that
for sure.
connecting all the
Yeah.
pieces together.
Yeah, that's how I would word it for sure.
That's amazing. Now, Mike, you mentioned that you didn't have a lot of experience with this sort of thing. It's a huge project. Did you have any assistance? Did you have any place you could go to learn how to do this stuff?
Well, I did sign up with the Factory 5 Build School out of Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
So it was a long weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I drove over to Flint, Michigan, stayed for the whole long weekend. And we built the whole car in 3 days.
Really?
Yeah. So there was about 10 or 15 of us with a couple instructors. And we just built all day until it was done. And we even, the instructor drove it at the end. So that was a great experience. It was a lot over my head because it went really fast,
Yep.
but I got an appreciation for the bigger picture.
And those teachers must have had a lot of faith in their ability to actually drive the car that you guys had built.
They did. Absolutely. They did.
Now,
Yes.
Mentioned that was in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
But Factory 5 is in Massachusetts. Isn't
Yes.
It? So why there?
I'm not sure. They have a relationship with Mott's College, which is an automotive tech
Yep.
college in Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
They just have that relationship, even though it's quite a bit far away. Yep. They run the training school.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that must have given you a bit more confidence to know.
It did. And it was a lot of fun, right? A great weekend away. And there's people at that school that come from all around the world.
Yep.
Right, to build. So I got to meet some great people. We still keep in touch, actually. Compare our build projects.
Good. So, and are you well ahead of the
No,
class
I'm in the last place because they were just yeah. But
Okay.
that's okay.
They don't have to work in -6-degree temperatures.
No, a lot of those guys are in the warmer weather areas.
Fair enough.
States. Yeah.
Fair enough. That's good. And you were still married.
I'm still married.
That's amazing. That might be the most amazing thing about this whole show. All right.
If my wife was here right now, she would cry because she's so she wants me to build this so bad. She just sees she sees how important it is to me. So had no resistance at all.
Keeps you in the garage so she can do what she wants in the house. Fair enough. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that looks like quite the project, and it looks like you're doing a fine job of screwing everything together. And I'm still stunned that you don't have the background that you think you would need to put something like this together. But I guess the most important factor in a project like this is having the determination to actually.
The determination obviously is the most important, right? Because I've got the books over there, the 1 page at a time. I've got the manual. A lot of times I'm having to reach out and ask a lot of questions. That's one of the challenges of building a car. You got to reach out and bug people, right? Other mechanics around the neighborhood. I got a bug and I have questions every day. Yep, there it is. So
the manual. Okay.
Yep.
I don't see this in French. It doesn't appear to be bilingual. It's well, I guess photographs are multilingual, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, that's incredible. They've really put the details.
For the most part, it's just step by step, and then there are about another, I'd say 40 small manuals that you download off the internet as needed to help guide you through different steps. So it's not just the one book, but that is the main book. And you've highlighted this.
Oh yeah,
these
absolutely.
things yourself, and that's just just to make sure I didn't miss anything. There's so many subtle details in there that will just be like one line or a couple words, and you look back and it's critical that you don't miss that, right? So I'm always highlighting and making sure I don't miss some of the critical steps. I like this particular note. Can you see this? It just says yes. Like I actually did that. Something important for sure. Well, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, Mike, now obviously starting on a project like this with relatively limited experience in these sorts of things, you must have run into some bottlenecks at some point. Can you remember some particular issues where I've heard that most of the time spent building a car is spent staring. Absolutely. Yeah. How did that go together? Did you have any of those moments? Well, I've definitely stared a lot. Like I said, 98% thinking or steering, 2% doing. One of the big challenges I had was with the actual rotors. The rotors did not fit the hubs that were provided from Factory 5. And I called them and back and forth we went. They assured me no, they were the right products. And then they sent me another set and they didn't fit. So I spent about 2 months back and forth on this. Really? And finally came to a conclusion that I had to go to a machine shop, had the center hole bored out to fit the custom fit it. And then that solved that issue. But that there alone was 2 months of back and forth. Yeah. Steering and calling people and so forth. You would think that if the hub came from Mustang sources that everything would fit together, but that's there was definitely some error in that process. I'm not sure what happened or how that happened, but nevertheless, the solution was to just take it to a machine shop, and we got through it. If it was too easy, it wouldn't be as much fun, would it? No, these challenges, I definitely think they're going to make up a big excitement of the journey. Good stuff. Yeah. Well, so Mike, tell me something about the
motivation and the genesis of this particular idea?
Well, building, you can buy a car built and drive it. It'd be actually a little cheaper. It'd be a lot quicker, but there's so much more to building a car. This represents a whole life experience for me. One of the things that was probably one of the best moments of my life, my dad and I did a road trip to Boston to pick it up.
Cool.
And we rented a trailer, and I know that'll probably be the last road trip I'll have with my dad. Right, he's still healthy, but he's a busy man on the farm, and so we drove and we got to do a tour of the factory, and so spending 3 days with my dad was amazing.
Cool.
It's also an experience that helps to it motivates me socially, right? Like for example, it's not always easy to reach out and bug people in the neighborhood because I need help.
Yep.
Right, I feel like I'm bugging people all the time. Right? Hey, Bob, the mechanic, can you come over and help me with this?
And wait till you fire it up at 4 o'clock in the morning sometime. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. But just even health, like physical health, and it seems to just drive me in so many different ways. My wife said it's like my Mount Everest, right? Like just like to some it might be an easy thing. For me, this is challenging. It's exciting. It's hard. There was a time where I never wanted to give up, but there was a time where it wasn't fun, right?
Cool.
So it's kind of like this whole journey, which is what I signed up for.
Yep.
Right. That's what I wanted.
I understand there's a third generation involved in this project as well.
Well, my son.
Yeah.
My son is building this with me, right? And I want this car. Him and I building this makes it so worthwhile.
Yeah. So, he just can't wait to drive it to high school, which I suspect might be a tough challenge for him to get your permission to do that. But,
I was going to drive him to high school.
Fair enough.
But absolutely, it's just going to be nothing. Nothing I found out is more exciting than just driving a convertible roadster in the country with your family. Right?
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
So much I'm looking forward to it to the end. Like the prize is just so huge, right?
Yeah. Like, one family member at a time. Absolutely.
Yeah. 2-seater.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
well, that's an amazing story, and I love the family connection there. That it goes through 3 generations.
I want my great grandchild to drive this car.
Fair enough. 100%. Fair enough. Good stuff. Okay.
I mean, I find the car industry absolutely fascinating. You got the engineering behind it, like just the competitive, faster and more powerful and more comfortable, and then you got the economics behind it, but you got the culture, the art and the culture, right? It's just all the people. So Burlington Cruisin Car Show, right? I'm a sponsor of that. I go regularly to the Monday night car shows, and I get to meet different people, and I get to see all the different projects that people have been working on,
including the 1977 American Motors Hornet, which is where I met all of these guys in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, I think this is an incredible project. We've got another tray here. Is this, or is that permanent?
Same thing. No, that's another nut and bolt holder again, so I don't drop these things. Yeah.
That's on there really strong. I can't. Is that just magnet?
Yeah, it's magnet.
Okay. Oh, that's magnet. All right.
Yeah, and just to emphasize, like, you go page 1, and the manual is at some points it's quite straightforward. Like go to box 6, pick out these parts, then go to box 12, and sometimes it's not that easy. But you just work through one page at a time, one system at a time, and one box at a time, and then you hit points where you get stuck, and you reach out to other people and get help.
Now, by box 6, you're referring to these boxes that are right behind our camera.
All these boxes, every box you see here is auto parts.
And this is stuff that's been shipped with the kit.
I got shipped. So either, shipped up. And I've had about 3 different shipments come in parts. Wow. And everything is here. Like all the windshield, the pipes, the wheels, the seats, everything that is required is here. The only exception, I'm still waiting on the engine, but everything else is here.
Now, we just took a shot of Schultz Customs, the big poster that I understand you've created that poster yourself.
Yeah, I had that just printed and made from a print shop and sent to me,
And
that's the vision. So that keeps me inspired, right? That I look up and that keeps me inspired.
That's cool.
And going, right? That's exactly what it's going to look like at the end.
Great. Well, I can't wait until you get this thing on the road. We will come back and do a little road test for you. And I guess that's it from Mike's Garage. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Cheers.